let's talk about your book and even where the inspiration came from to say, I'm going to put pen to paper.
After my late husband Jack Layton died, I have all these people that came up to me and said, Olivia, how are you doing? How did you manage through that really terrible period? And then within a minute or so, they said, my partner also passed away. So it became a discussion about dealing with grief. And from there, I looked back to my childhood. Like all immigrants' parents, I came from Hong Kong when I was 13. My parents were middle class, but they couldn't find a job that they were trained for. Heard that before, right? And my dad had a nervous breakdown. It was really difficult. My mom had to work hard. I had to do 2 jobs in order to make ends meet. But there was violence in the family, and then I realized it was my faith, my faith through the church that I attended that gave me the strength. That's the origin of the book.
Wow. Can you take me back to when you were 13? You moved here, a brand new place, brand new culture, everything is different. You know, how do you adjust as a 13-year-old?
It was really difficult. I spoke some English. I grew up watching Batman and Mr. Ed and Bugs Bunny. I remember What's Up, Dark? Yeah. But I didn't know where to turn to find help for my dad. He needs psychiatric help. He wouldn't acknowledge it. He finally landed in a psych hospital, and it was really difficult because there weren't a lot of service for newcomers. Neither were there any service for people with mental health issues. There wasn't any support for my mom, who suffered physical violence. So that got me interested later on to public service. Absolutely. And that's how I started becoming politically involved.
Well, your roots in social justice, I was going to say, started at a very young age then. So how did you turn that into a political career?
In the late 1979, 80s, there were boat people from Vietnam, and they were adrift, and they needed a place to call home. They were in camps, they were in leaky boats. I got involved, and then we did this Operation Lifeline campaign. We got them here, right? And then I realized that in order to change laws, in order to make a difference, yes, individual action is good, collective action even better, but that's also the next step. That's what the government is there for. So I thought, started working for an MP, and then I thought, I can do this. So I tried to get elected to be a school trustee, and I got elected in '85.
And then it snowballed from there, because your political career has blossomed, and you've become really not only a favorite for many as a political figure, but also for just what you believe in, who you are. So how do you create that relatability with people on the streets? Because every time, you saw from at Nathan Phillips Square with the chalk for Jack, and everyone just felt like they knew you. So how do you create that bridge?
I don't know, but I always listen to people when they say, when they talk about what they need. So way back, I had a senior that told me, Olivia, I'm worried, in Cantonese, I'm worried that I don't know what to do if my husband get really sick or choke up. I can't speak English. I raised my kids. I never had time to learn English. When I call 911, I can't communicate. I thought, whoa, you're right. 911 needs to speak 140 languages. So I started a little campaign, and by working with other people, we managed to, across different political spectrum. So I think connecting with people, it's really about listening, about bringing them on board to say, hey, you can't just tell me. Why don't you tell the police service board that you need 911 to speak 140 languages?
So you're providing that voice.
I'm the connector, right? That's what an elected representative. I don't have all the solutions, and it's not usually that it's not always that I'm right all the time. I like to think that I'm right sometime. But connecting across different political spectrum, working together and getting things done, that's always been my style, and people seem to like it, which is great.
a lot of people respond to it. I've got to ask you about your future political career as well. There were rumors, that it went around before that you would be offered the position of lieutenant governor when that was going around.
Yeah.
And you heard it in the media and you knew that wasn't the case. What are you thinking? How did these rumors come about?
I don't know. And then there's always positive stories, and then there's the negative stories, right? Mm-hmm. There are always people that are cynical. And I think it's most important to be in public office is to focus on what is most important. Mm-hmm. That's what I do when I deal with Jack's passing. Focus on the immediate, focus on the here and now, living in that moment. I could just sort of say, oh, all these wonderful times I had with him. Great, those are great memories. Don't forecast it and say, oh, gee, I can't have those wonderful times in the future anymore with him. That's okay. No, it's not okay. But but you don't have to get into it, but just live in the moment. So whether it's a rumor or nasty stuff thrown at me or dealing with grief, it's just focus on what's important, and that's carried me so important at this moment. Yeah. So that's carried me this far.
I have to ask you about the possibility of running for mayor of Toronto. Mm-hmm. Your answer to that is?
Well, I'm seriously considering it. I love the city. I grew up in St. James Town, right? Mm-hmm. Right in the heart of Toronto. And I certainly don't want my grandchildren to look up to Rob Ford as their role model, or I think some moms may not want their children to look up, that mayor as our role model. Mm-hmm. As to what I'm going to do, I haven't quite decided yet. Right now, I'm hoping that through my book, I encourage more people to be positive, to overcome adversity, look at love, look at public service, and work together to make a difference.
So would you like to use all of that if you were to become the next mayor of Toronto? What are the big changes you'd like to see then in our city, or what would be the biggest change you'd like to see?
Let me tell you, speaking about the here and now, I'm the Member of Parliament, MP. What I would love to see is to get the federal government invest some of the money that we pay to them back in the city to deal with gridlock, better public transit, better services for our young people, create better jobs so that we don't have 1 out of 10 people not being able to find good jobs. Mm-hmm. So the here and now, as an MP, Olivia Chow, I'm going to be back in Ottawa on Monday to push hard to get some investment for cities.
A couple things I personally would just like to ask you is, what are some fun facts that people would be surprised to know about Olivia Chow? They wouldn't be able to read about it anywhere else. What do you like to do in your spare time?
I don't sing very well. I failed grade 3.
You failed grade 3?
How do you fail grade 3, right? I was rebellious. I was just like, I'm a terrible little kid.
So it wasn't about the grades. It was about the behavior?
It was both. It was both. Back in Hong Kong, they have grades, right? Mm-hmm. Come out of 35 to 35 kids in the class. I think I was 34. Turned that around at Jarvis Collegiate and got perfect marks in math in grade 12. So I just made up for it later on.
You know what? Yeah, you turned it completely around and look at where no one would have known that. So if you have any parents who are watching perhaps and they say, oh, my child's not doing well, it's just the beginning.
Because I was a school trustee. Mm-hmm. And I asked the director of education at the time, what do you say to a parent that if the child maybe have a learning disability or just struggling? You know what he said? I said, well, what special program? He said, love him lots, and love him some more, and he'll be fine. I thought, wow, really? Yep.
It sounds so simple.
It sounds so simple. It's just self-confidence, be positive, believe that your child can learn, and it happens.
Great. Your book is available now?
Yeah, today is the launch day.
Excellent.
And it's in bookstore near you or through internet.
Good. So we'll be seeing you many times.
Yeah, and it's not often there's immigrant stories get told, and I thought it was important to, given Toronto, half of the people here are from another country, and I thought it was important to say that, hey, diversity is our strength. Let's create a better city together.
How different was it for you to actually author a book? I mean, you've done so many different things in your life, but to actually sit down and put your life in how many pages is it? You know, how difficult was it to do that?
95,000 words. Yeah,
95,000
words. Yeah. It was hard.
Was it?
It was really difficult, and I resorted into my iPad speaking to it. I tried writing notes. I write, a little diary by the bed and all those little things. And I had a professional assistant that helped correct my grammar, because my English is still my second language, and I'm terrible with spelling and grammar. So I had professional help.
And how long was the entire process?
I started thinking about it in 2012 because for a whole year I'm listening to people asking me how I'm doing, right? And then I really knuckled down to start writing in the spring of 2013.
Great. That's a long process, but it's nice to see it come into fruition, right?
It's done, yeah.
So how are you doing health-wise?
I'm strong as a horse, because the year of the horse is coming.
Yes, the year of the horse.
That's right.
Right around the corner.